Hey everyone, ever feel like you're working super hard, getting that paycheck, and then, poof, it's just gone? You're not alone. So many of us are grinding, but our savings accounts are looking pretty sad. Budgeting sounds like a total snooze fest, right? But what if I told you there's a simple, no-stress way to manage your money that actually works? It's called the 50-30-20 rule, and it's about to become your new best friend. It's not about cutting out all the fun. It's about making your money work for you so you can live your best life without the constant money anxiety. So, what is this magic rule? It's a super simple budgeting framework that splits your after-tax income into 3 buckets. First, 50% goes to your needs. Second, 30% goes to your wants. And finally, 20% goes to savings and debt repayment. That's it. The whole point is to create a balance between your responsibilities, your social life, and your future goals. No complicated spreadsheets, no counting every single penny. It's a guideline to help you see where your money is going and make sure it's going where you actually want it to go. Let's break down that first bucket. 50% for your needs. These are the absolute must-haves, the non-negotiables you need to survive. We're talking about things like rent or your mortgage, your monthly grocery bill, transportation to get to work or school, utilities like electricity and water, and minimum payments on any debts you have. These things have to be paid first, no question about it. Why? Because keeping a roof over your head and the lights on is priority number 1. A good tip to keep this category in check is to look for ways to reduce these fixed costs. Maybe that means getting a roommate to split rent, cooking at home more often instead of relying on takeout, or finding a cheaper phone plan. The goal is to keep these essential costs at or below half of your income. Now for the fun part, the 30% for your wants. This is your lifestyle money. This bucket covers everything that makes life enjoyable but isn't strictly necessary for survival. Think about your Netflix and Spotify subscriptions, going out for dinner with friends, buying that new video game, grabbing coffee, your shopping sprees, and tickets to concerts or movies. This is how you have a social life and enjoy your hobbies without feeling guilty or going broke. The key here is to be honest with yourself about what's a want versus a need. A basic internet connection might be a need for work, but the ultra-fast gigabit plan? That's probably a want. A new pair of sneakers when your old ones are falling apart is a need. A 5th pair just because they look cool is a want. This 30% gives you the freedom to spend on things that make you happy. Next up, and this one is crucial for your future self, is the 20% for savings. This is where you pay yourself first. This money is for building a secure financial future. Your first priority with this 20% should be to build an emergency fund. This is a stash of cash, usually 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses, set aside for unexpected things like a car repair, a medical bill, or losing your job. It's your financial safety net. Once your emergency fund is solid, you can start using this 20% for other goals. This could mean investing for retirement, saving up for a down payment on a house, paying off high-interest debt aggressively, or saving for a big trip. The most important thing is to make saving a non-negotiable habit. Treat it like any other bill. Automate it. Set up an automatic transfer from your checking to your savings account every payday. That way, you save without even thinking about it. So why is this rule so perfect for Gen Z? First, it's incredibly easy to understand and get started with. There's no complex financial jargon. 50, 30, 20, simple. Second, it's super flexible. Whether you're making minimum wage at a part-time job or you've landed your first full-time gig, the percentages stay the same. It scales with your income. As you start earning more, your buckets for wants and savings just get bigger. And finally, it seriously reduces financial stress. When you have a plan, you're not just guessing anymore. You know your bills are covered, you have permission to spend on fun, and you're actively building for your future. It gives you a sense of control that is priceless. Of course, life isn't always perfect, and sometimes the 50-30-20 rule needs a little tweaking. What if your income is still pretty low, or you live in a really expensive city where your rent alone eats up 50% of your paycheck? Don't panic. The rule is a guideline, not a law. If your needs are taking up more space, you might need to adjust. Maybe you switch to a 60-30-10 split, where 60% goes to needs, 30% to wants, and you focus on saving at least 10%. Or if you're really squeezed, a 70-20-10 split might be more realistic for a while. The goal is progress, not perfection. The most important thing is to be intentional and save something, even if it's not the full 20% right away. As your income grows, you can work your way back towards the ideal 50-30-20. As you get started, there are a few common mistakes to watch out for. The first is ignoring the small expenses. That daily $5 coffee or those little in-app purchases can add up to hundreds of dollars a month without you even noticing. This is why tracking your spending for the first month or two is so important. Use an app or just a simple notebook to see where your money is actually going. The second mistake is lifestyle inflation. This is when you get a raise and immediately upgrade your lifestyle. Nicer apartment, more expensive car, fancier dinners. Suddenly, you're making more money, but you're still broke. When your income increases, try to put most of that extra cash towards your 20% savings goal instead of just inflating your 30% once. Let's walk through a quick, real-life example. Let's say your after-tax monthly income is $2,500. Using the 50-30-20 rule, your budget would look like this. 50% for needs is $250. This would cover your rent, groceries, utilities, and transportation. 30% for wants is $750. This is your fun money for eating out, shopping, hobbies, and subscriptions. And 20% for savings is $500. This $500 would go straight into your savings account for your emergency fund, investments, or paying down debt faster. See how it breaks it down? You have $250 for your responsibilities, $750 to enjoy your life, and $500 to build your future. It's a clear and manageable plan. At the end of the day, remember this. You don't need to be rich to start budgeting. Financial wellness is for everyone, at every income level. What matters most is consistency. It's better to save $50 consistently every single month than to save $500 once and then nothing for the rest of the year. Start small, create the habit, and stay disciplined. You are in control of your financial future, and the 50-30-20 rule is an amazing tool to help you get there. You've got this. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of that 50% for your needs. This is the stuff you absolutely have to pay for to live. We're talking rent or housing costs, your groceries, not the fancy snacks, but actual food, transportation to get to work or school, and your utility bills like electricity and internet. These are non-negotiable. The reason we put these first is simple. If you don't cover your needs, everything else falls apart. You can't focus on your side hustle or your social life if you're worried about keeping a roof over your head. A solid tip for keeping these costs under control is to really analyze them. Could you get a roommate to split the rent? Can you meal prep instead of buying lunch every day? Small changes here make a huge difference because this is the biggest chunk of your budget. Now for the fun part. The 30% for your wants. This is where your personality gets to shine through in your spending. It's for things like going out to eat with friends, your Netflix and Spotify subscriptions, that new video game, or tickets to a concert. This is your lifestyle money. The whole point of the 50-30-20 rule is to create balance, not to make you miserable. You should be able to enjoy your life and have a social life without feeling guilty or going broke. The biggest trap here is confusing a want with a need. That daily $5 coffee? It feels like a need, but it's a want. A new phone when your current one works just fine. A want. Being honest with yourself about this category is the key to making it work. And finally, we have the most important part for your future self. The 20% for savings and debt repayment. Think of this as paying yourself first. Before you spend on wants, a fifth of your income should be tucked away. Your first priority with this money should be building an emergency fund. This is your financial safety net for unexpected events, like a car repair or a medical bill. Aim for 3 to 6 months of living expenses. Once that's solid, you can start directing this 20% toward other goals. This could be paying down student loans faster, saving for a down payment on a house, or investing for retirement. Yes, even in your 20s. Making saving a non-negotiable habit, just like paying rent, is the single best thing you can do for your financial future. Automate it. set up a direct transfer from your checking to your savings account every payday. That way, you don't even see the money, so you're not tempted to spend it. So why is this rule so perfect for Gen Z? First, it's incredibly easy to understand and get started with. There are no complicated spreadsheets or financial jargon, just 3 simple categories. Second, it's super flexible. Whether you're making money from a full-time job, a part-time gig, or a collection of side hustles, the percentages stay the same. It scales with your income. As you start earning more, your allocations for needs, wants, and savings all grow proportionally. This prevents that dreaded lifestyle inflation we'll talk about later. Most importantly, it dramatically reduces financial stress. Knowing you have a plan and are actively working toward your goals gives you a sense of control and confidence that is priceless. It stops that end-of-the-month panic when you wonder where all your money went. Of course, life isn't always perfect, and sometimes the 50-30-20 rule needs a little adjustment. What if you live in a super expensive city where your rent alone is 50% of your income? Or what if you have a lower income right now while you're studying? That's totally fine. The rule is a guideline, not a law. If your needs take up more of your budget, you might have to shift to a 60-20-20 or even a 70-20-10 split for a while. The key is to still prioritize that savings component, even if it's just 10%. The goal is progress, not perfection. Don't get discouraged if your numbers don't match up perfectly right away. The act of tracking and being intentional is what builds the right habits. As you start using this rule, there are a few common mistakes you'll want to avoid. The first is ignoring the small expenses. Those daily coffees, the vending machine snacks, the in-app purchases, they add up fast. This is what we call death by 1,000 cuts. You have to track these little things because they can easily blow up your wants category. Another huge one is lifestyle inflation. This is when your spending increases every time you get a raise or a bonus. You finally get a better paying job and suddenly you need a nicer apartment, a more expensive car, and designer clothes. Instead of letting your lifestyle inflate, use that extra income to boost your savings rate. Go from 20% to 25 or even 30%. Your future self will thank you. The biggest mistake of all? Not tracking your spending. You can't budget what you don't measure. Use a simple app or even a notebook to see where your money is actually going for the first month. The results will probably surprise you and show you exactly where you can make changes. Let's make this super real with an example. Say you're a recent grad, and after taxes, you bring home $3,000 a month. Using the 50-30-20 rule, your budget would look like this. 50% for needs is $1,500. This could be $1,000 for rent and utilities, $300 for groceries, and $200 for transportation. 30% for wants is $900. That's your fun money. Maybe you spend $300 on eating out with friends, $100 on subscriptions and entertainment, $200 on shopping, and you still have $300 left for weekend trips or hobbies. Finally, 20% for savings is $600. You could put $300 into your emergency fund, $200 toward your student loans, and start investing the last $100 into a retirement account. See? It's not about restriction, it's about a clear plan. You have your essentials covered, you're having fun, and you're building wealth for the future, all at the same time. I want to leave you with this. You do not need to be rich to start budgeting. In fact, it's the other way around. Budgeting is the tool that helps you build wealth, no matter where you start. Consistency matters so much more than the exact numbers. Saving $50 a month consistently is better than saving $500 one month, and then nothing for the next 6. Start small. Get disciplined. This isn't about giving up everything you love. It's about gaining control over your money so you can build the life you truly want. You've got this. Okay, so what exactly are needs? This is the big 50% of your income. Needs are the absolute must-haves, the non-negotiables you need to survive and function. Think rent or mortgage payments, your utility bills like electricity and water, groceries for cooking at home, and transportation to get to work or school. It also includes things like insurance payments and minimum loan repayments. These are the expenses you have to pay every single month. No excuses. Why do they come first? Because if you don't cover your needs, everything else falls apart. You can't have fun or save for the future if you don't have a roof over your head. A great tip to keep your needs under control is to regularly review them. Can you find a cheaper phone plan? Can you save on groceries by meal prepping or using coupons? Small adjustments here can free up a lot of cash without drastically changing your lifestyle. The goal is to keep this category at or below 50% of your after-tax income. If it's higher, that's a sign you might be living beyond your means, and it's time to reevaluate. Next up, we've got the 30% for wants. This is the fun stuff. Wants are everything you spend money on that you don't strictly need to survive, but that make life more enjoyable. We're talking about going out to eat with friends, your Netflix and Spotify subscriptions, buying the latest video game, concert tickets, or that new pair of sneakers you've been eyeing. This is your budget for your social life, hobbies, and entertainment. Having this dedicated category is what makes the 50-30-20 rule so sustainable. It doesn't force you to give up everything you love, it just gives you a clear boundary for it. The biggest challenge here is not confusing wants with needs. That daily Starbucks latte, it's a want, not a need. Upgrading to the newest iPhone when your current one works just fine, definitely a want. Being honest with yourself is key. This 30% allows you to enjoy life and avoid burnout without feeling guilty or going broke. It's all about intentional spending on things that truly bring you joy. And finally, the most important part for your future self, the 20% for savings and debt repayment. This is where you pay yourself first. This 20% of your income should be automatically set aside before you even think about spending it on wants. This category is your ticket to financial freedom. It has a few crucial jobs. First, build an emergency fund. This is a stash of cash, typically 3 to 6 months' worth of living expenses, to cover you if you lose your job or face an unexpected bill. It's your financial safety net. Once your emergency fund is solid, this 20% can be directed towards other goals. This includes paying off high-interest debt, like credit cards, which is one of the best investments you can make. After that, you can start investing for the long term, maybe in a retirement account or index funds, and saving for big future goals like a down payment on a house, a car, or an amazing vacation. The key is to treat saving as a non-negotiable bill you pay to your future self every single month.